That's really interesting. SilverDefender, from all the people you worked with on MythBusters, was there anything useful you learned from one of the crew who wasn't in front of the camera? Oh my God, constantly. Constantly. I mean, but you're talking about specific lessons. I mean, you know, one of my earliest lessons was from our producer, Steve Christensen. Steve-O. Steve-O is living in Tasmania now. Steve-O's one of my favorite people, just a awesome human being. When he didn't like someone, he would say, "Mate, they're a scrote." Steve-O was like, "Look, mate, all we're doing here is the hook, the hold, the payoff. That's all our job is, the hook, the hold, the payoff." It is great to film just holding that frame in your head. I mean, for television specifically. Because every moment you are filming for is about getting people to stick around. That's the model of television. This is a different model, but yeah. Keeping that in mind, the hook, the hold, the payoff. There are minor hook holds and payoffs, and there are big arcs of hooks and holds and payoffs. God, there's so many different things. One of my cameramen taught me the trick from Henry Fonda for filming when the sun's in your eyes is to close your eyes and point them directly at the sun for like a full 30 seconds and then look at the camera and open them. You will be able to hold them open for a while, and also they'll be a little glassy. Henry Fonda would do that because they'd make his eyes look slightly teary and you'd be like more involved in looking at his beautiful face. Alice Dallow taught me so much about buttoning down production. The editors used to complain that Alice and us delivered too much footage. They'd be like, "You're delivering us a Bentley and all we need is a Cadillac." And we'd be like, "Yeah, we're still sending you 16B cameras of coverage." And all of those beats that are part of science television. What do you think is going to happen? What do you expect is going to happen? What do you not want to happen? What is your best case scenario? What is your worst case scenario? What is your prediction? All three of those are different. What happened? How did it fit with your reality? How surprised are you? All of those things. I mean, you know, I learned from every bomb squad we worked with about contingency planning and about careful, methodical construction of dangerous things. You know, I like to say that I don't have a college degree, but my college was working for Jamie on commercials in the late 90s, in the mid 90s. And that my master's degree was spending 5 years at ILM, and my doctorate was 13 years making MythBusters. And at each of those stages, during my transition from commercials to film, I thought, I know a lot. And then I got to film and I was like, I don't know anything. And then from film to MythBusters, Jamie and I started MythBusters being like, we are effects professionals and we know what we're doing. And at the end, we had this really sweet laugh driving home from one of our last shoots where I was like, we both sort of acknowledged that when we looked back at the sheer sum total of things we had internalized and understood while constructing at the scale we did on MythBusters, which dwarfed every other scale either of us had ever worked in, that we had to admit we were absolute babies when that show started in terms of what we were getting ready to build. Crafting the Unusual asks a question about money. Would you take on a project where you'd need to spend thousands on materials and props up front, only to be paid later after proving progress through monthly valuations? No. On its face, I would not take that job. There are extenuating circumstances that would make me take that job. A previous relationship with the person in which they have paid me would be an extenuating circumstance. Thousands on materials and props up front. Your exposure is huge when you do that. And your choices are yours. But there's something I gave this commencement address at the Stevens Institute of Technology a couple of weeks ago, and it was really, really fun. And I forgot to tell them something. There was this thing that was on my list since the beginning of my composition of the commencement address. And then at the last minute, I just forgot to put it in. And it's this. Someone's going to screw you out of $10,000. That's my advice. I want everyone out there to know, if it hasn't already happened to you, at some point, someone's going to steal a whole bunch of money from you. It's happened to me several times. And the advice I want to give you is, that's the cost of doing business. I don't mean roll over and take it, but you are not unique. And as long as you recognize that and you take that with a grain of salt, I want you to take it with a grain of salt so that you don't take it too hard. It sucks to be screwed out of money, especially by people you've trusted. That has happened to me. And it's really hard to get over. And it hasn't gotten over because I forgave those people. It got over because I became okay with the fact of it. And life is better if I cut that loss and move forward rather than worry about that. Mike Birbiglia has a magnificent comedy special called Sleepwalk With Me. And it's all about getting really upset about a car accident and eventually letting it go. Because the officer who arrived on the accident scene wrote the wrong stuff. And Birbiglia had a choice to either let it destroy his life or let it go. And the thing I want to say to you, unto you, is especially if you are freelance, which it sounds like you are crafting the unusual, when you are freelance, you are going to get boned out of real money. And it's going to really frickin' suck. And I'm sorry. And the people who do that are not good folks. I had an entire company go bankrupt underneath me, sell all of its assets to itself, and open as a different company. Yeah. I wrote that CEO and just said, I just want you to know I had to borrow money last month to feed my kids, and that's because you did this bullshit. I had some satisfaction knowing that he read that letter and it upset him, which is great. That's all I wanted. Exposing yourself by spending thousands on materials and props up front. Can you sell it if you get screwed? If you can't, that's a lot of exposure. If you don't have a prior working relationship with this person, if people who you really do trust also do have prior relationships with them, that could help. The prior relationship is even more important to me than a contract, because people can screw you out of a contract and just say, come and find me. Not that you shouldn't have a contract. This job should not happen without a contract. But I wouldn't even go near it with a contract if I had no previous history with the person. I've even seen, oh man, it doesn't even matter how big the company is. Do you know how many production companies Discovery has bankrupted by awarding them a show? The production company spent the money to film the show, and Discovery canceled the show before it aired and didn't owe any money to the production company. I'm not kidding. That has happened dozens of times over the world. Big companies like Disney and Discovery do this all the time. The bigger the company doesn't necessarily mean the safer the deal. Get a contract. I'm about to curse, which is rare, but I want you to go watch my friend Mike Montero's seminal internet video, F You Pay Me. Go look that up on YouTube. It is fantastic. Bring your lawyer into this. Don't go near this without a lawyer and a contract. If you go near it, make sure you know about the folks. I'm getting nervous on your behalf there. Want to ask me a question during a live stream? Become a tested member by clicking the join link right around there somewhere.